Don't you know me? Let go of him." When I returned from the restroom, I saw our sales manager, Amy, being harassed by some Yakuza. There were 5 of them, but I recognized them well. They must have recognized me too. People around us were keeping their distance, trying not to get involved. I saw Hiro, my colleague, smirking a few steps away, watching Amy. I walked up to the Yakuza and twisted the arm of the one holding Amy's shoulder. "What are you doing? Do you know who we are? This isn't our first meeting, is it?" One of the Yakuza looked closely at my face and then gasped. When they realized who I was, all 5 of them started trembling. "My name is Ken. I'm a 50-year-old sales rep at an electronics leasing company. Given my age, people usually assume I'm married with kids, but I'm still single. It's not that I'm against marriage. I just haven't been lucky in that department. However, it would be a lie to say I have no issues. The truth is, I still can't forget the woman I dated in high school. She confessed to me in our sophomore year, and we started dating. She was my first girlfriend, and I was completely smitten. Those were joyful days, and I began to dream of going to the same college and spending our lives together. But maybe we were too happy, and God has got jealous. During the summer break of our senior year, she had an accident on her way back from tutoring and passed away. For a while, I couldn't focus on my studies or anything else, living in a daze. As a result, I didn't pass my exams on the first try and had to repeat a year to get into my preferred college. My 4 years in college were fulfilling enough, but I think I built a wall around myself when it came to romance. I didn't mean to be a bad friend, but I might have shown some resistance towards female students. I felt I had to live for both of us, but my life became somewhat indifferent. After graduating, I joined my current company. In my 5th year, I transferred from the accounting department to sales, increasing my interaction with people. I thought I was taking my work seriously, but I guess my efforts weren't enough, as I didn't receive much recognition. Then, a woman named Amy, who resembled my late girlfriend, came in as our new manager. Seeing Amy changed me significantly. I began to enjoy coming to work and started taking my job seriously. Gradually, I started receiving recognition from my colleagues, but the most rewarding praise came from Amy. I was driven by a desire to contribute as much as possible to the sales team. However, just because I was motivated didn't mean I suddenly became handsome. My life remained quite ordinary, and my main hobby was playing chess, which many consider an old man's game. My colleagues in the sales department didn't know much about chess, and none of them were willing to learn the rules just to play with me. That's why I value my current chess friends greatly. My best chess buddy is an elderly man named Ryu, who lives in an old house near my apartment. We have a great time playing chess while he shares stories from his wild youth. Some of his tales can be quite shocking, but I just take them as entertaining old stories. Living such peaceful and calm days, I find a certain level of enjoyment in life. To me, Amy is like an angel who descended upon the sales department. Unfortunately, not everyone was pleased with Amy becoming the manager. That person is my colleague, Hiro Takahashi. Hiro is currently a sales manager. Although he holds a position, he feels he is not being fairly evaluated. Whether being a sales manager at 50 is a slow career progression or not, I can't definitively say. However, Hiro graduated from a prestigious university and joined the company as one of the elite. I was never interested in the rat race, so I didn't pay much attention to Hiro's progress. But in the company, many people are keen on career advancement, so many are aware of Hiro's issues. Hiro was once on the fast track, frequently transferring to various branch offices, but he made a major mistake in a rural area. He never talks about it, but rumors spread. Apparently, while on a solo assignment, he had an affair with the wife of a local dignitary. It caused a huge scandal locally, and although the two separated, our company faced heavy criticism for employing Hiro. Eventually, our company had to withdraw from that area, and the branch office was closed down. Having caused such a significant incident, his career advancement was completely halted, and he remains a sales manager. It's his own fault, but Hiro constantly complains about his treatment. Then, a woman 5 years younger, Amy, arrived and took the position of department manager. I heard that Amy went to the same university as Hiro. Thus, the sales department began moving forward with the new manager despite the looming concerns. Our company mainly leases office equipment. The sales team's skills are crucial for acquiring new customers. We usually work in Japan, visiting various companies for sales pitches. My calm personality helps me work well with any colleague or junior team member. However, Hiro creates problems no matter who he Japan with. He's known to argue with colleagues during sales visits and leave abruptly. The abandoned colleague is left in a tough spot, and we inevitably receive complaints later. Seeing this, Amy, as the manager, sternly reprimands Hiro. But Hiro constantly argues back, worsening the atmosphere in the sales department. Recognizing that direct criticism from Amy might not resolve the issue, I, as his peer, have been taking a more proactive role. As a result, Hiro has started showing his disdain not only for Amy, but also for me. One Sunday, while playing chess, Ryu, my elderly neighbor, asked me, "What's wrong, Ken? You seem down lately. You were so excited about the new lady manager. Did something happen?" Ryu affectionately calls me Ken. I decided to open up to him about my worries. I never had ambitions for promotion. I just wanted to live quietly without drawing attention. But recently, I've been standing out more to protect Amy. When I shared my complaints, Ryu watched my move and chuckled. That's unfortunate. Indeed, living quietly without bothering anyone would be ideal, but people need to interact with others to live normally. Especially since you're in sales. Exactly. My job is all about dealing with people. But Hiro is trying to ruin relationships and humiliate Amy to get her demoted. Well, think of it as life experience and endure it. Even now, Japanese society is full of people saying things like, "For a woman, it must be tough." Amy surely notices you're supporting her. Hearing him say I'm supporting her made me feel embarrassed. I focused on his comment about enduring as life experience. Ryu, do you have any regrets in life? More than I can count. In my next life, I want to live humbly without causing trouble for anyone. Ryu, who seems like a gentle old man, laughed about how much trouble he caused in his youth. Hearing the details of his wild stories gave me chills, even though they were from long ago. He said that's why his wife left him, and his son keeps a distance from him. I often try to mediate between Amy and Hiro to keep the peace in the department. Whether I succeeded or not is questionable, but Amy's increasing appreciative looks made it worthwhile. During this time, a company trip, also meant to boost morale, was planned, and I decided to join. I hoped the trip would improve the tense atmosphere in the department. On the day of the trip, I headed to the airport with my suitcase, feeling a bit anxious. I imagined sitting next to Amy on the plane and planned to keep her entertained. I arrived first at the designated meeting spot, feeling nervous about whether I was in the right place. Gradually, other employees started to arrive, and I felt relieved that I hadn't made a mistake. Seeing Amy in the distance, I waved enthusiastically. She saw me and waved back with a bright smile. Hiro stood a step away, busy with his smartphone. There was still some time before our boarding, so I decided to visit the restroom. There was a long line, and it took longer than I expected. When I hurried back, there was a commotion. Rushing to the meeting spot, I saw Amy being harassed by some yakuza. "Please stop. It was just a slight bump on the shoulder." Amy was being confronted by a group of 5 yakuza. People around were keeping their distance, watching from afar. Though I didn't understand the situation, I recognized the group. I saw Hiro standing a few steps away, smirking at Amy. The airport was crowded, and the onlookers were watching from a safe distance, afraid to get involved. I was furious that no one was helping. Looking around, I couldn't spot any security personnel. I thought about finding a security guard, but worried that Amy might be taken away while I searched. Besides, asking for help and doing nothing myself would make me a failure as someone who genuinely cares about Amy. Determined to save her, I approached the yakuza. I had no martial arts experience and wasn't particularly strong in fights. In college, I learned a few techniques from a police officer on how to subdue an attacker without using much force. I had never put those techniques into practice, and there was no guarantee the yakuza were unarmed. Still, My mind was filled with anger, leaving no room for fear. Without hesitation, I twisted the arm of the thug holding Amy's shoulder. The thug, not expecting a civilian to fight back, let out a cry of surprise. "What the hell are you doing? Do you want to get hurt too? Do you even know who I am?" One of the Yakuza stared at my face and then gasped. "Hey, this is bad. This guy is a friend of the boss's father. I've met him at the house before." When I let go, the thug stumbled for a moment. I stepped back from the Yakuza. By then, all 5 of them realized I was a friend of Ryu, known as the boss's father, and they started trembling. Ryu, my chess buddy, was a former Yakuza and the father of the current boss. He is usually very gentle and gets along well with the neighbors. However, when a low-ranking Yakuza visiting him was rude to me, he would give them a terrifying glare. Once, a Yakuza tried to pass by without acknowledging me, and Ryu yelled at him, "You have no manners. This man is my friend. I won't tolerate any disrespect toward him. I'm sorry, I'll be careful from now on. Please forgive me." "It's okay, I ignored you too. Let's just greet each other next time." From that moment, I was recognized as Ryu's friend by the Yakuza. "Ken, what are you doing here? Do you know this woman? She's not just an acquaintance. She's my important boss. Why were you trying to hurt her?" "I was just asked to do it by that guy over there." The thug pointed at Hiro, who was standing a bit away, hiding his face with his smartphone. Hiro's face went pale, and he tried to slip away. I rushed to Hiro and grabbed his arm firmly. "Hiro, is this true? I know these guys. They're Yakuza. If you really tried to get them to attack the manager, I can't overlook that. I don't know anything about it. They acted on their own. I have nothing to do with this. Don't play dumb. Don't mess with me." Holding Hiro's arm tightly, I turned to the familiar thug. "If you try to run, I'll tell Ryu the truth. You won't get away with it. So you better tell me everything." "What are you talking about, Ken? I'm just a regular guy. I have nothing to do with these shady characters." "I'd like to believe that, but I need to hear their side of the story. I doubt they'll lie." Seeing Hiro desperately trying to escape, a young colleague quickly stepped in and restrained him. Now Hiro couldn't run. One of the Yakuza began speaking in a low voice. "We're also involved in money lending through our connections. Hiro here owes us money. When he showed no signs of paying back, he said we could have the company's beautiful manager. The interest alone has surpassed the principal. Even though offering a woman doesn't settle the entire debt, it would cover the interest, so we came to see her. When we saw her, she was just as beautiful as described. We thought we'd be doing well if we could have her in exchange for the debt." I wasn't the only one stunned. My colleagues and Amy were also looking at Hiro in shock. Unable to bear the cold stares, Hiro trembled and looked down. Listening to their story, I shook with anger, clenching my fists. What Hiro tried to do was a complete crime. It's common to hear about Yakuza being involved in money lending, so Hiro might have thought he was borrowing from a regular financial company at first. Later, he must have realized he was indebted to the Yakuza. So Hiro thought that by offering Amy, he could get rid of his annoying boss and wipe out his debt. As a man, Hiro was about to do the lowest thing possible. Amy, realizing the gravity of the situation, trembled with fear. She had lived her life dedicated to her work, only to face this kind of cruelty. It was beyond unfair. She had worked hard to hold her own among male colleagues, but now she might have been feeling her limits. Overwhelmed by a mix of anger and a sense of justice, I blurted out something outrageous. "Amy is very important to me. If any of you so much as touch her again, you'll regret it." "We understand. We're very sorry." The Yakuza quickly retreated with their tails between their legs. By now, a crowd had gathered around us, and as the Yakuza fled, they burst into applause. At first, I was confused as to why everyone was clapping. But then, I realized I had just declared my true feelings for Amy in front of everyone. My face grew hot, and sweat dripped from my forehead. Amy, initially terrified, managed a small smile as the Yakuza left. She approached me with a cheerful smile and looked up at me gently. "Thank you, Ken. You saved me, by the way. Were you just making that up to scare off the Yakuza, or—" "I was serious, Amy. I didn't plan to confess here. But if I don't do it now, I feel like I'll lose you, please. Go out with me. I decided to be bold and confessed right there. Even if she turned me down, it wouldn't be worse than the fear of her being taken away by the Yakuza. I'd just go home and drink away my sorrows. But Amy smiled brightly and bowed, saying, I'd love to. Applause erupted again from the surrounding crowd. Not only my colleagues from the sales department, but also random travelers congratulated us with shouts of congratulations. Feeling embarrassed, I gently held Amy's hand. Amy blushed, leaned into me, and rested her forehead against my chest. Her adorable gesture made me fall for her even more. And so, we became the officially recognized couple in the sales department. The employee who had been holding Hiro approached us. Manager Ken, we should call the police. This is a criminal matter. If we don't handle it legally, he'll just try something like this again. The police, please, no. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I didn't think they'd take it seriously. All right, we'll let you go for now. But understand that there's nowhere for you to hide. We know where you live, and it would be easy to contact your family. Hiro muttered, I understand, and left, abandoning his heavy suitcase. The suitcase likely contained nothing more than clothes, which Hiro probably no longer needed. We couldn't just leave it there, so we decided to send it to his home later by courier. Finally, smiles began to spread among the sales team. The trip was effectively cancelled, and after discussing it, we all decided to disband at the location. Amy, looking relieved, said she would go back to her parents' house and left. However, this didn't mean all the problems were resolved. I couldn't let Hiro's misconduct go unpunished, so I contacted Ryu. Since he doesn't have a cell phone, I called his home phone, briefly explained the situation, and told him I was coming over. When I arrived at his place, Ryu was furious and promised to punish the 5 men who had frightened Amy. The biggest problem is Hiro. Borrowing money from the Yakuza and then trying to offer his boss, he's the lowest of the low. He will face appropriate consequences. Ryu, usually so calm, had a face of pure rage. For the first time, I felt the deep-seated fear he could invoke. For some time after that, Hiro was absent from work without permission. When I contacted his family, they said Hiro had told them he was going on a business trip and wouldn't be home for a while. I cheerfully responded, Oh yes, that's right. I forgot. To put them at ease. About 2 weeks later, Hiro reappeared, looking gaunt and jittery, like a completely different person. I asked Ryu what had happened during those 2 weeks. It's better if you don't know, Ken. I don't want to lose a valuable chess partner, he said with a bright smile, as if discussing trivial matters, which made it even more terrifying. I realized that I had been casually associating with an incredibly frightening person. However, that was the only time I felt such fear. After that, Ryu became even more gentle and kind, and no Yakuza came to see him when I was around. Thus, my relationship with Ryu remained amicable, and we both kept our few chess partners. Since then, Hiro seemed to lose the will to live. He became almost invisible in the sales department, alternating between coming to work and being absent. Even when he showed up, he kept making mistakes, and eventually he was demoted from manager to regular employee. On the other hand, Amy and I continued to date, despite the occasional teasing from our colleagues. What was once a distant admiration grew into deeper affection as we spent more time together. It's a bit of a cliche, but I felt like I was born to love this woman. Eventually, I proposed to Amy, and she accepted. We faced various issues, like who to invite to the wedding and where to live. But the biggest challenge was our positions at work. Currently, we both work in the sales department, with Amy as my boss and me as her subordinate. While that wasn't inherently bad, it could lead to unnecessary favoritism or me not being evaluated fairly. So, when Amy consulted with the higher-ups about our marriage, they decided it would be difficult to work in the same department. Amy was reassigned as the head of the PR department, and I took over her position as the sales manager. We got married without any issues and began our life together, working as a couple and respecting each other. After I became the sales manager, a despondent Hiro submitted his resignation. Despite my repeated attempts to make him reconsider, he eventually stopped coming to work, and I had no choice but to accept his resignation. It seems his small severance pay went straight to repaying his debt to the Yakuza. I learned about Hiro's situation from a subordinate who lived nearby. Hiro had become a recluse, not even attempting to find a new job. As a result, his family faced increasing financial difficulties, with his wife trying to support them with a part-time job, but even that had its limits. Their children would need more money as they grew, and seeing their father in such a state every day was not good for their upbringing. His wife and children grew tired of Hiro and left him. Eventually, they got divorced, and Hiro was left all alone. To pay alimony and child support, he had to sell the house he had finally paid off and move into a small apartment. For a while, he drifted aimlessly, but when his savings ran out, he started working as a clerk at a pachinko parlor. The reason he borrowed money from the Yakuza in the first place was his gambling habit. However, relying on gambling to make a living was impossible. He kept losing, and his debt continued to grow. Eventually, Hiro disappeared from the neighborhood. There were many speculations about what happened, but no one knows the truth. Some say the Yakuza got rid of him, while others believe he is on the run with new debts. But the truth remains unknown. I just hope he's started a new life somewhere far away. A year has passed since Amy and I got married. Thankfully, our marriage is going well, and we still enjoy our time together as if we were newlyweds. Since we married at an older age, we understood that having children was unlikely. We understand that in the future, when we get older, we won't have the support of children or grandchildren, so we've made the necessary preparations. These days, we're focused on saving money and planning to live a relaxed life together. Since we're both department heads, we have a comfortable lifestyle. To avoid getting old too quickly, we go for walks and visit the gym together, staying active. We've even talked about taking a leisurely trip around the world once we retire. Marrying Amy has made me feel incredibly fortunate. Our days are peaceful and enjoyable, and I'm deeply savoring this happiness.